In this video, I'm showing you my favorite pickups of 2022. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Today, I am showing you my favorite purchases of 2022. Now, you guys know, I buy a lot of comics, and the goal is to read and review them, and that happens sometimes. It does, sometimes it doesn't. But year-end lists are always interesting. I was thinking of doing like a, top 5 ongoing series, a top 5 indie series, and so on. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just talk about the things that I added to the collection that I treasure the most, that I value the most, that I'm most excited about this year. Let's kind of just tell the story of the collection in 2022. I feel like in 2020 and 2021 especially, it was all about like getting a bunch of stuff, like getting as much stuff as I could, the big omnibus hauls and just collecting, like being a pack rat, catching up on all the stuff that I didn't get a chance to buy because I didn't know comics existed. And in 2022, I feel like it's sort of evolved quite a bit. And finally, as 2022 comes to a close, I feel like I'm more of an essentialist than like a maximalist, right? Like I don't need to buy everything that comes out. I can keep it down to a select few things. And now I feel like, hey, if you make it into the collection, it's because you really deserve to be there. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to run down some of my favorite things that I picked up in the year 2022. There's no particular order. I'm just going to start it off with, actually the most obvious thing. So first thing I'm going to put on my list of, favorite purchases is going to be this. This is my iPad Pro 11 inch that I bought. When did I buy this? I think sometime in August or so. When I tell you, this has been like probably the single best investment that I've made into comics this year. I use this thing every day. I use it to plan out videos. I use it to look at my pull list, and I use it to read digital comics. Now, I did a whole video about the best digital comics apps and my experiences with each of them. And without this iPad, I would not be anywhere near caught up on my reading goals. I think we're always a little bit behind, but yeah, the iPad, without a doubt, makes it a lot easier for me to read comics. I've got a toddler and she's potty training. Last thing I want to do is bring a comic book into the bathroom while we're potty training, right? But I can bring my iPad and it's no worries. I keep sanitizing wipes, by the way. But anyway, so that's going to be the first thing. And going along with that, the second thing that I would say is, definitely high on my list of purchases is my DC Universe Infinite Ultra subscription. Now, I've been subscribed to DC Universe since it was like a big mega streaming app and you could watch TV shows on it and you could read comics on your TV. So I've always had the DC Universe subscription, but I hadn't really been making the most of it because for the longest time, you could only read stuff that was 6 months old or older. And for me, I'm trying to stay current on, current stuff. Well, with the Ultra tier, now you're just 1 month behind the street date of your comic books, which means often you can read the most recent issue of a comic even before the next issue comes out. So that has been super helpful for someone like me who, while I do still buy single issues, they're so hard to keep up with and definitely hard to carry around the house without damaging them. So I can honestly, or I can most often, if I forget about an issue, I can just go back and read it real quick right before the new issue comes out on Tuesday morning. And, it's all good. It's all good. So staying current with my DC comics has been super helpful because of the DC Universe Ultra subscription. There's no affiliate link or anything like that, but it's only, I think, $120 for the year. That's worth it. So if you haven't upgraded yet, I think you should do that. Now, that's going to be the end of us talking about digital things. And let's get into some of the things that I just have that I feel like represent my collecting journey in 2022. So first thing I'm going to shout out is this. This is my X-Men Mutant Massacre Omnibus. Now, yes, I did buy this, this year. I'm pretty sure it came out this year. But what happened this year that didn't happen any other year was I actually brought this with me to my first convention and I got it signed. This is quadruple signed by both, or quintuple signed, excuse me, Walter Louis Simonson, Rick Leonardi, Chris Claremont, and John Romita Jr. all signed this omnibus. And this book pretty much tells the story of my first Comic-Con. I went to Heroes Con in Charlotte. Shout out to my homie Chris Balga, from the the World's Finest True Believers podcast. I always mix up the names because it's a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. But anyway, stayed with, Chris and we went to this con. I also met Omar from Near Mint Condition there. But the sort of hallmark of the experience was lugging this huge book around, trying to get it signed by as many X-Men creators as possible. And I was successful. So this book tells the story of my first con experience and I treasure it a lot. I did somehow damage some of the pages of this in transit. So, overall, I probably wouldn't recommend carrying an omnibus to a convention, but that's the first thing on the list. The next thing that I will highlight, you know what? Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. The whole Milestone Returns collection. So, Milestone rebooted last year. Actually, in 2021 is when it happened. And it was really exciting. And we got, for the first time, new appearances of Static, Icon, and Rocket, Hardware. This year, we even got the Blood Syndicate, which was dope. And they've been collected in hardcovers, all except Blood Syndicate so far. But this one, I decided to grab this one off the shelf because Hardware was my favorite of all of the miniseries, all of the 6-issue minis. This book means a lot to me. I got to interview Dennis Cowan on the channel and that was fun. He's popped up into a few of our live streams and that was fun. But this book, is just dope. But the return of Milestone in general just means a lot to me. It was something that I was collecting before I found out that Milestone was going to come back. I thought Milestone was this mythical dinosaur, a relic of the past. And, now Milestone is current. And there was a Milestone Generations documentary. I could talk about Milestone a lot. I try not to. So anyway, the Milestone Returns collection, definitely some of my favorite purchases of 2022 because I bought it all. And going along with the Milestone Returns collection, I wanted to show off something from OG Milestone as well. This kind of just fell into my lap. I have this saved search on eBay, and anytime something Milestone goes up for sale, I see it typically. And this I was able to grab for a steal. This is a copy of Static issue number 8, which is my favorite Static cover, by the way. This is a cover by Walt Simonson. But this has a verified signature from John Paul Leon, who we did lose earlier this year. And it's a CBCS 9.8 yellow label. So this means a lot. It's signed by JPL, but it's also signed by Jason Scott Jones, who started off as an intern at Milestone and ended up being their color editor. So very cool. And also, this is the first appearance of Static, shooting, Static out of his eyes. So I think it might be the only instance in comics, actually. And that's a fun fact that Jason shared with me when I posted this on my Instagram. So, definitely one of my favorite pickups of the year. Because John Paul Leon is no longer with us, it just meant that much more. And I'm just glad I was able to get this. So, a couple of my favorite purchases this year. Another of my favorite purchases has got to be the Reckless Saga of books. So, the Reckless Saga is by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I wanted to call him Ethan Brubaker, but no, the main character in the series is Ethan Reckless. And he's basically like a former CIA agent who had a head injury, had an injury in an explosion, so he's retired. And now he just kind of does mystery solving and problem solving for hire. Each of these books is its own thing. I've read the first two, which are Reckless and The Friend of the Devil, Friend of the Devil. And I really enjoy them. And this made it to my year-end list because this is an example of me listening to the comic book community, listening to my man Skip, and, actually enjoying a book that was recommended by the community. So really, really, really love it. And what I like about the Reckless books is they are a nice, each of them I read within an hour, just chilling, in the bed on a Saturday morning, right? And they're just great. All right, I'm going to dive into a good story. Nice one and done stories. You don't need to read one to have read another. They're just great. That's just good pulp mystery comics. Love that. Now, another thing that I'm going to highlight is Green Lantern Mosaic. So Green Lantern Mosaic, I ended up grabbing all of the single issues, which include 4 issues of the Green Lantern run by Gerard Jones. And there's a whole other 15 issues of Green Lantern Mosaic. I think might be 19 issues. Either way, I got all of Green Lantern Mosaic. Now, next thing is to read them. But why this means a lot to me. So I was reading the Jeff Thorne run of Green Lantern. Jeff Thorne also wrote Blood Syndicate. We had Jeff Thorne on the show, on the Hangout, and he was telling me how much his run is inspired by Green Lantern Mosaic. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to grab Green Lantern Mosaic. And it was funny because these books are notoriously hard to find. Unfortunately, the writer just had some crazy indiscretions, and so DC is not trying to push this book. You can't get it digitally. You can't read it on their unlimited services. So the only way to get this is to track down the single issues like I did. So I'm glad I tracked them down because, regardless of the indiscretions of the writer, this is pretty much one of the only major solo John Stewart books. There's Cosmic Odyssey, and that's about it until Jeff Thorne comes along. So I'm glad I grabbed this and I'm excited to read it. And let's see, the last thing that I'm going to highlight on my favorite pickups of 2022 list has got to be the Black Panther Omnibus collections. Now, we got a bunch of Black Panther Omnibus this year. We got the Black Panther Early Years Omnibus. We got the Black Panther by Ta-Nehisi Coates. We got a World of Wakanda, which is basically the companion to the Ta-Nehisi Coates Omnibus. And then we got this, Black Panther by Christopher Priest, which, for my money, is the definitive take on Black Panther. And for the longest time, Black Panther was not available in an omnibus collection. We did have a few oversized hardcovers of the Coates run, but especially that Black Panther Early Years Omnibus collecting all the jungle action stuff. I'm someone who really learned of the character through the movies. And so to be able to dive into his comic book origin, as well as, just how much the world was built around T'Challa through comics has been really cool to do. And so I'm glad that these omnis exist. Now we just need a Ta-Nehisi Coates Volume 2, and we need a Reggie Hudlin Omnibus. I just knew that was going to come out before Wakanda Forever, especially being Black Panther and all, but that didn't happen. Dang. Spoilers for Wakanda Forever. My bad. So that was my favorite pickups of 2022. A lot of stuff, related to being Black in superhero nerddom, right? Milestone, Jon Stewart, Black Panther. I make no apologies. It's just some of my favorite stuff, but also nice pulp mystery stuff as well. And again, the DC Ultra service has been super helpful in keeping me caught up on the books that I read. So in 2022, I tried to tame down the stuff that I had been buying. I've run out of room on my collected edition shelf. So if I buy a new omnibus, it's going to be because I really, really need to have it. And we'll see how the collection grows in 2023. Well, then let me know what some of your favorite stuff was, though. What's your favorite stuff that you bought this year and added to your library? Let me know in the comments down below. And you can join us in the K Squad. Huge thanks to all the people that make this video possible and every video on the channel. I'll see you in another one soon. Until then, hope you saw something you liked. And if not, hey, that's cool. So you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.